right, let's now talk about the announcement from Ford. More than $11 billion going toward electrification. Huge news. Not as great as it could have been if you're a Michigan business leader or Michigan politician. Let's talk about it all with Michelle Krebs, the executive analyst for Cox Automotive, and Henry Payne, the auto critic for the Detroit News. Michelle, let me start with you with the meat of this announcement. Put this in perspective for me. How big is this bet that Ford is making?
It's a big bet, and everybody's making these big bets. So Ford announced it was doing two manufacturing complexes, one in Tennessee, one in Kentucky. They will include manufacturing, but also manufacturing of the battery, which is very significant. It will amount to about 11,000 jobs, and it's $11 billion between Ford and its battery partner, SK Innovation. It's a big deal.
And very important in this is this idea that they want to control more of their own supply chain, correct? I mean, we've learned some lessons here.
Absolutely. If we didn't learn anything from the chip shortage, we learned it because the battery production is the key to this. And, we got stuck without having our own chip production.
Yeah. Henry, I mentioned off top of the program the way that I've talked quite a bit about the way I feel about electrification. And you are like-minded. You were an early adopter of the Tesla. In fact, I think you've been out running around in the electric Hummer lately, which has a lot of people excited. But I think there's a lot of people that are very concerned yet that business is running ahead of the appetite of the public for this. Now, to be a smart business, I guess you have to be ahead of the curve. But are we properly aligned yet?
No, EVs right now are very much a niche vehicle, and it's interesting with the Ford announcement. You look at what they're building down there in Tennessee. They're building trucks. I think the manufacturers have really identified the two sectors that they can get a foothold in are luxury vehicles like I drive a Tesla Model 3, motorheads like me who've got a little coin and love to go fast, and then you look at look at the truck segment. I mean, electrification has enormous benefits for trucks in terms of low-end torque, in terms of saving costs for commercial truck makers. So I think it's very significant that what Ford is building down there is Tennessee, and it's not. I think Dylan, Devin, what we're talking about here is as much a commercial market as is a retail market. So you got a lot of corporations out there, big corporations that have sustainability goals,
sure,
and that are going to be looking at pickup makers like Ford to fill their fleets.
Fleets is obviously a massive part of the story. Let's move to the Michigan part of this, Michelle. A lot of hand-wringing over why there wasn't a little bit more love coming from Ford for their home turf, and yet I think some people have explained that the availability, the sites that they were talking about in Kentucky and Ford were a little more Kentucky and Tennessee, just more shovel-ready, and Michigan wasn't ready to compete with that.
I don't know the politics of it. It's not my field, but they did acquire massive amounts of land. They got very significant incentives from the states, and Ford does have a plant in Louisville, which isn't very far from where one of the plants is. And there's an ample workforce. The other thing that I'm hearing that is an issue is the electricity costs, which are much less there.
Do we have any idea yet whether these are going to be UAW jobs down south?
We don't know that. That's yet to be seen, and that will be a battle.
Yeah. Henry, what's your take on this? It doesn't seem to be great PR, if nothing else, for Michigan trying to put its flag in the ground as being the future of the auto industry.
Well, but to build on what Michelle just said, two things about Tennessee, Kentucky. I mean, there's a huge circle of auto manufacturing down there. I was just at the VW plant in Chattanooga. You've got GM in Spring Hill. You have Nissan in south of Nashville. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of automakers down there, and the batteries are everybody likes to say that electric cars are low emission. There is huge energy costs in manufacturing batteries. You got cheap coal power in Kentucky. You have cheap hydro power and nuclear power in Tennessee. That's going to help keep down the costs for these automakers as they build these electric vehicles.
It tells us a little bit about where maybe a roadmap then for Michigan for how it needs to compete. Michelle, quick thought about where we are on electric infrastructure then. It's still a big worry for a lot of consumers about whether or not and how they're going to charge their vehicle. And on the other end of it, what are we going to do with all these batteries? I haven't heard anybody really flesh that out for me yet.
Well, I can tell you that we bought a company that does recycling and evaluation of batteries, so we know where that will be a big business eventually.
Yeah.
But the infrastructure is the first thing we really need. When we talk to consumers, what's the obstacle to keeping you from buying an electric vehicle? It's price and then range and infrastructure. If we had the infrastructure, range wouldn't be as big a problem because we are starting to address that. So we got to address that.
You got it. Michelle and Henry, always good to talk to both of you. I appreciate the expertise, and hopefully we'll see you again in person real soon.
Good to see you, Devin.
You bet. You too. Thanks so much. We come back, we'll talk about the latest edition of Detroit Homecoming. This is Flashpoint on Local 4.